My dream is to be an average and normal person. Young lady, let me ask you, if I had a body of flesh and bones, just like you, would you have applauded my previous performance? How could a body of flesh and bones do what you just did? Of course it can. About 4 months ago, there was a talent show in North America. A dancer, a magician, I suppose, uses shocking body control combined with some accessories to complete such a performance. His head seemed to have fell off his shoulders down to his waist. Truthfully, when I saw that scene, I was filled with indescribable admiration. I immediately tried to imitate that performance, and I was able to do it within an hour. In fact, I did it more perfectly because my head really dropped off. However, nobody cheered for me. At best, I can only use it to scare young ladies like you. Why that dancer received thunderous applause? The reason is only those made of flesh are real humans. Only real humans hold meaning and value. Nobody will praise the robot regardless of how neatly it slices food, but a chef with impeccable knife work will be widely praised as an artist. There are many other examples. Regardless of how fast transportation tools may be, nobody will think that they're dexterous, but even a child would have heard of a 100-meter race champion. What are you trying to say? I told you, only real humans hold meaning and value. If one desires to have meaning and value, one must become a real human. I see. You looted all these bionic prosthetics not to act as spare parts, but because you wanted a body of flesh. You're smart. Miss Jigsaw's special search member. I probably know your name in the past, but after receiving 1904's amazing blessing, now that I'm more human-like, I ironically cannot remember it. But look, I cannot choose how I was born, but I can choose what I wish to become. Mr. Great Serpent, as you chase after your dreams, aren't you forgetting something? Stealing, arson, robbery, illegal possession of dangerous weapons, destruction of public properties, violent assault. If you want to become a real human, please atone for your crimes like a rational human. Sela and Susanna exchanged eye contact in unison and carefully surrounded the Great Serpent from both sides. Regrettably, I cannot abide by your rules and restrictions before I become a real human. What's with his double standards? A flexible moral standard is also one of the weapons humans use to survive. Or rather, I'm more like a regular human when I do this, no? I realized what this fellow says seemed to make sense at first, but he's actually just spouting nonsense. Yeah, let's just arrest him, Susanna. Phew! We're finally done. I didn't think that he'd be so persistent. Looks like he's finally exhausted his storage. In the rather cramped underground lab, mechanical limbs and fragmented parts were scattered all over the floor. Great Serpent casually sat on the railing by the side, no longer summoning new weapons. He raised his head slightly, as if everything that had happened around him did not matter. Even after such a long fight, none of the other Incognito members came to save you. Are you really an important member in the organization? Grey Serpent laughed softly upon hearing that, sounding rather delighted. Susanna, I don't think other Incognito members exist at all. Huh? Ever since we came to Nakazora, we've always been fighting mechas or robots. Aside from him, we never met a living Incognito member. And throughout our investigation, we've never found anything related to the appearance of other Incognito members, nor any witness testimonies. And Incognito's motive is to collect bionic pathetic for Grey Serpent, so he should have a high rank in the organization, but he's always been in the front line, alone with no support. This is unreasonable indeed. So I'm guessing that the whole Incognito organization is but smokes and mirrors set up by this Grey Serpent. From the beginning, you've been the only member of Incognito, haven't you? So, all the rumors about the hundreds of members, countless mechas, and lockdown operations, those are also... Yes, all a disguise to make the existence of Incognito organization more convincing. From the start, this Grey Serpent is our only enemy. I thought that making the seemingly huge organization would be enough to confuse those who pursue me and hide my true motives. I'd never imagined that to the prospective audience, this was but a cheap performance. Mr. Grey Serpent, why do you want a body of flesh? Grey Serpent raised his body slightly. His pathetic eye looked behind Scylla, as if he was looking through the wall into the distance. Since you know my name, you should also know that what a Grey Serpent is like. You guys are mechanical artificial lives created by the World Serpent. All of you have different personalities, but have the same type of bodies, and share memories and consciousness through the Grey Serpent network. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But the Grey Serpents that you have interacted with or heard of must be the complete models, right? Complete models? In other words, regardless of their personality, mental age, self-proclaimed gender, likes and dislikes, those Grey Serpents have a complete persona, right? Are you saying that there are Grey Serpents who don't have one? Of course, there's one before you. Or rather, I used to be one of those incomplete models. Not all Grey Serpents have complete and stable personas upon gaining consciousness. Due to the random algorithm, about 30% of Grey Serpents have an incomplete soul. We can only live like the simplest of robots. That can happen? It's reasonable that you do not know, as we don't have the ability to move autonomously. Naturally, we cannot interact with the outside world. However, the World Serpent did not abandon us in spite of this. We were taken to a particular secluded underground workshop where absorbed memories to complete or repair our incomplete personas using the Grey Serpent network. It's said that, with enough time, we will become a complete model, but mockingly. The Grey Serpent network no longer exists. That's right. For the complete Grey Serpents, this represents freedom and liberation. But for us, we're like fetuses that had our umbilical cords forcefully removed. Then, Mr. Grey Serpent, how did you survive and obtain a complete persona? Just a stroke of luck. When I woke, the scene before my eyes was no different from that of hell. Familiar bodies surrounded me, the same limbs, masks, and eyes that I have. I immediately realized what had happened. The network no longer exists, and my siblings around me will never have the chance to wake again. Yes, I was just a little luckier, and managed to awaken with complete consciousness before the network disappeared. When I crawled over their lifeless bodies, I had already decided how I wanted to live for the rest of my life. I want to find a real body of flesh for my soul, a temple that can truly inherit my heart. I want to leave this cold, man-made coffin, never to remember those dark, chilly, and humid feelings of disgust. Thus, my obsession with the living body. Clever, Miss Sela. Paused occasionally while he spoke, as if trying to remember the conversation, and he correctly called out the other's name. I sympathize with your situation and admire your perseverance, Mr. Grey Serpent, but I cannot agree with your perspective. Even without a body of flesh and blood, even without a body at all, the soul is also a form of life. I don't agree with how you view that as a flawed existence. Sela, seems like you also have some personal experience that allows you to believe differently, in contrast with my beliefs. But unfortunately, our time is up. Truthfully, I'd love to hear your story, but now is not the time. Suddenly, the Grey Serpent swayed and his head fell off, yes again. But this time, it did not fall to his waist, but rolled straight onto the ground. Darn, it was a clone! Bingo!
猜对了。
A grazer made from the spare parts on the ground. Hurry and catch him. Well then, until we meet again. The Grey Serpent's real body agilely climbed into the van next to him, and the sound of explosions followed after. Sela and Susanna rushed forward, but found that the van had been firmly blocked by rubble and debris. Hurry, let's take another route. How is it? Have you found him? No, looks like we let him get away again. The two looked at each other with a helpless expression. Suddenly, it seemed like Susanna had thought of something. Ah, I got it. Huh? Sela, do you remember how we trapped the Grey Serpent in the warehouse yesterday? He vanished as if he evaporated. Maybe it's the same tactic. You mean... There was nobody in the warehouse, just boxes and spare parts strewn all over the floor. Those are actually Grey Serpents, right? He was the same. He split himself into numerous pieces to pretend that he's already somewhere else, which means he was actually in the warehouse, patiently waited for us to leave before recovering his original form, and leisurely left. That fellow fooled us with the same trick twice. He slipped away right under our noses twice. Yeah. Susanna and Sila looked at each other again. This time, they both showed a bitter smile. Their exhaustion began to surface slowly, like shells left behind by receding sea waves. Of course, aside from that, a clear passage could be seen on the beach. But who knew if this narrow path would lead to somewhere ominous? To solve this case in Nagazora, they continue to hurry about. As the Great Serpent escaped once again, Sila and Susanna had temporarily lost all clues to pursue and returned to their safe house. Last night, the temp security maintenance workers had tidied and organized the place, and the various facilities had been repaired to a certain degree. The two immediately reported what had happened in the morning to Einstein and Tesla. The police officers in Nagazora are really nice, but we let Great Serpent escape again. Don't be sorry. We're trying your best to arrest a criminal that they are helpless against. Dr. Tesla's right. And as for Great Serpent's ability to piece bits and pieces of himself together, both of you were given insufficient information. Strictly speaking, we are the ones to blame. Professor, please don't say that. From your description and the fragments that Great Serpent left behind, that guy can break himself into numerous pieces, and each one of those pieces act as an individual module on standby. But once they receive the signal from the core component, they can awaken and gather within a short amount of time to form a whole body of a Great Serpent. According to the mechanical body of past Great Serpents, it's impossible to achieve this. This means that Great Serpent in Nagazora has managed to improve and modify himself. In this respect, he's pretty amazing. To become more like a human. No. No matter how you look at it, he's becoming further from a human. But this transformer obsessed with modification isn't flawless. Dr. Tesla displayed a schematic diagram full of data on the communicator screen as she spoke. This is a module that Mophead and I made based on the properties of those body parts. It shows that whenever Great Serpent uses that resurrection trick, it's like hot swapping. It deals a certain degree of damage to those parts. I see. Looks like this isn't a cheap trick for Great Serpent. But he was able to get away with such agility once he rebuilt himself right in front of us. It didn't seem like this type of damage affected him in any way. The damage barely affects the Great Serpent's movement in a short duration, but it definitely hinders the efficiency of his body's operations in the long run. Simply put, the durability of those mechanical parts will decrease greatly. This gives us quite an opportunity, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll definitely be able to catch the Great Serpent next time, right? He'll become slower with time. Yep, as expected of our reckless Susanna. You've gotten it completely wrong. Sorry. I think that Great Serpent is aware of this himself. That's why he's finding ways to repair himself while on the run. Maybe he's not simply repairing. Great Serpent stole the precious bionic prosthetic from Neopolis Pharmaceutical and obtained the last piece required to modify himself. He doesn't have a reason to stay in Nagazora anymore. He probably wants to leave the city immediately and find a quiet place to complete his self-modification. In his current state, Great Serpent isn't confident of operating for long duration. To him, the prerequisite for leaving Nagazora is to make sure that he is in perfect condition. Which means Great Serpent will steal new spare parts again to repair himself. Gosh, why can't you think out of the box? Mop had just said that he has already gathered all the components he needs. So the two of you are saying that Grey Serpent may complete his modification somewhere within Nagazora. Susanna frowned and pondered for a while, before showing an expression of sudden realization. Oh, I got it too! Grey Serpent's ultimate goal is to modify himself, and now he needs to repair himself too. So why not hit two birds with one stone and... renew himself completely. Now we're talking. Even though Grey Serpent has already modularized most parts of himself, to switch his body entirely still requires some time, place, and settings. And this means that Grey Serpent has a secret stronghold somewhere in Nagazora. It's likely that he's hiding there now. But how are we going to find that secret stronghold? Once he revamped his appearance, it will be tough for us to find him. Relax. Think about who's in charge of providing information. We've already made a list of every area in Nagazora that fulfills that condition and sent it to your guide, Sora-chan. I'm sure she'll bring good news soon. And right then and there. Oh, speaking of the devil. Miss Sila, Miss Susanna, and our two professors, everyone's here. Did you find it, Sora? Yeah, a friend of mine in Nagazora spotted a masked man in black clothes entering the old city area earlier. I'll send the coordinates to all of you. This is... Sila is really close to where we assembled before. It's near our safe house. Yeah, it's probably the part of the city that has submerged into the sea. But can one really stay in a place like that? There are more habitable areas within than it seems. For example, the top floors of buildings and some tightly sealed warehouses aren't flooded yet. Some of the homeless or runaways could live in those places. The witness who saw the Grey Serpent is one of these people. What are we waiting for? Let's go check it out. We can't let the sly fellow escape again. Yeah, let's go. There are lots of mechas controlled by Grey Serpent all around here, more than any area in the city. I'm sure he's hiding somewhere here. Yeah, we're pretty close to the coordinates given by the witness. We don't know what other tricks Grey Serpent has up his sleeve. We should be careful as we move ahead. What's wrong, Sila? Is it a trap? No, what's that thing? Where? Where do you want me to look, Sila? It disappeared again. It's nothing. I must be seeing things. Sorry, Susanna.